Wednesday, February 26, 2014. You're tuned into the Elevator Radio Show. The Elevator Radio Show is a proud supporter of the Elevator Escalator Safety Foundation. To find out how you can make a difference, visit their website today at www.eesf.org. Everybody got a great show for you today, so stay tuned. Here it comes.
You're tuned in to the Elevator Radio Show, a weekly program dedicated to covering news and information on elevators, escalators, and moving walkways. Produced in the wee hours of the morning, a new show is uploaded every Wednesday, sometimes even before you get out of bed. Listen to some of the comments sent in from our audience.
Rob from New York writes, Tom, are you f***ing insane? You actually get up at 2 a.m. each Wednesday to put this show out? Man, you must love elevators. Tim from Illinois writes, I'm not sure why I listened, but ever since I tuned into the first show back in 2007, I've been addicted. Matt in Texas writes, I like your safety messages, Tom. It's important to remember them each and every day. And he also adds,
when am I going to win the monthly prize pack giveaway?
Ron from California sent this in. Despite your inability to pronounce words in the English language, I tune in each week and am glad that you offer this service to the industry. It's better than Google News alerts. Sarah from Washington writes, love the show, Tom, and look forward to it each week. I'm glad I signed up for the newsletter. You provide a valuable resource for the industry, not only for North America, but worldwide.
Enjoy the show. And now, here's your sleep-deprived host, Tom Seibert.
Hello. Thank you. Hello, everybody. I am Tom Seibert. Yes, I am. Oh, enough. It is good to be here this Wednesday morning where we are bringing the show to you after having basically 2 weeks off, not necessarily for R&R, but actually for some traveling, family, and just the speed of life, which just can get so busy sometimes. And kind of, it's one of those deals where you have to manage the best you can and just plow right through it. So it is good to be back. I missed everybody. And had I done the show next week, I probably wouldn't have been able to do it with the vigor that it needed to have. So it's good that I did take that off. So anyway, it's good to be here. And as always, thanks for tuning into the show today. I have quite a bit of content to cover. As I typically have done in the past when I take 2 weeks off, got a ton of emails. Thanks to everybody who said hello to me and welcome back, all that good stuff. I really appreciate that. And it's always nice to hear from you out there. I'll try to get that all cleared up this week. I didn't see anything that was majorly pressing. So as always, send your email elevator comments to elevatorradioshow@gmail.com. So if you remember 2 weeks ago, the Elevator Escalator Safety Foundation held their annual general meeting, which was down in Atlanta, Georgia. And that is when the second major ice storm, snowstorm, whatever, kind of traveled through the area. And while a few, or I guess I should say more than a few of us, were able to make it into Atlanta for the meeting, many were unable to make it in, mainly because of flights being canceled and whatnot. We still had a very productive meeting. It was great to see everybody who did make it down there, but there was a time we were all at the hotel that I don't think any of us thought we were going to be able to get out of there, because I think they canceled all the flights on that Wednesday. That we had actually, had the meeting. So I guess there was no better place to be, I guess. And also, if you're going to be stranded in a city for a day, I can't think of a better crowd of people to have been stranded with. So important work went on down at the meeting. The new goal for the foundation is to reach 600,000 children in the upcoming year, which I don't think we'll have. I hope we don't have any issue doing that. And as always, funding is really the way that we do that. So if you can find it within your budgetary ability to donate, I encourage you to do so. Go over to eesf.org and send them a little bit of money. So thanks to everybody who did attend the annual general meeting. I understand that a lot of that comes out of some of it comes out of your personal pocket to travel down there. Some of it comes out of your companies, but still, nonetheless, it is still a commitment and one that is not thought of lightly. So, and as always, thanks to all the companies who have already donated in support of the foundation. But it's good to see everybody down there. I enjoyed it. It's like my second family to some extent. So, Anyway, so if anybody has any questions about the meeting, just send me an email, elevatorradioshow@gmail.com. Last week was just busy. I was traveling the latter part of the week and over the weekend, so I got tired. But it's good to be back. Unfortunately, it's still cold here in Chicago, and but some of the snow has actually left. Has actually melted or evaporated, which is a good sign. I will take that. Next week is March, and today we have our prize pack giveaway. Remember to get over to elevatorradioshow.com and click on the show notes and look at the companies that have donated some really cool goodies to that prize pack. We're giving away a $100 gift card, and guess what I've got for the winner of this month's prize pack giveaway? Girl Scout cookies. I got tagalongs, and I've got Samoas. These are my two favorite Girl Scout cookies. So I've got. And I honestly don't need to be eating these because what happens at work is these become my lunch. Anyway, and we have a couple of people here that sell them overpriced cookies. Anyway, so I'm going to unload those into the prize pack giveaway along with the $100 gift card. Along with that, so as always, if you are not sure how you can become subscribed to the e-newsletter, go over to elevatorradioshow.com. And basically what you want to do is either click on the I would say this is the best way of doing it. Click on the subscribe button. If you subscribe in the upper right-hand corner to the blog via email, you'll get an email as soon as the post has been published. It's probably the easiest way of doing it. We do have an e-newsletter, but I'm looking at probably shutting that down. It's just one step in the equation to try to get the show out, and to be honest with you, it's kind of a pain in the butt to do that, and plus it's I'm not using a free service to send out the emails. So if you could find it within your abilities or your time to go over to elevatorradioshow.com, upper right hand corner it says subscribe to blog via email. All you got to do is just enter your email address there and hit subscribe, and that's probably the best way of doing it, because at some point the broadcast email service that I am using is most likely not going to be used anymore, because the way emails are going out, it's just, the number of people opening them is just not there, and so many spam filters are catching them. So I hate to bombard anybody with too much information. The thing is that I can't bring all those email addresses over to automatically to the subscribe. As many of you know, the Anti-Spam Act, CAN Act, whatever the heck it was, basically, requires that your permission be given to receive emails. So I never ever went through and just added a whole bunch of emails just to add emails, because there's no financial gain for me with this podcast. You know what I mean? So if you're interested, go over and check it out, and if not, don't worry about it. No worries. All right. So up next, we get right into the news. At the end of the show, we'll give away the prize pack giveaway with cookies, money, and some great goodies given away by the companies listed in the show notes, and as always, thanks for your support. So up next, we'll get right into the news. I think, I got to figure out. Yeah, this is the news. Okay, here's the news bumper.
Let this week's news stories give you a lift on what's happening in the vertical transportation arena. Each news segment is organically dug and fresh with news stories of the week. Got lift? If not, stay tuned.
I've only had 2 cups of coffee, but I am excited. Can you tell? All right, first news email or article, I should say, is the Chicago Elevator Association has their post. Next meeting is going to be held next Thursday. I'm going to say next one more time. Next week, next meeting, next Thursday. So it's at a new location, which is kind of exciting. It's going to be held at Champs at 2301 Fountain Square Drive in Lombard, Illinois, and encourage you to check that out. If you go into the link, you'll find out you'll be able to download the March newsletter and the meeting flyer. So go over and find out what's going on in the Chicago Elevator Association. Encourage you to get your RSVPs in right away for that as well. Okay, the International Association of Elevator Consultants has their forum registration link online. This has been up for a little bit now, so if you want to go and check that out, you can register online. You can find out the speakers and the schedule. You can mail in your registration, hotel reservation, sponsorship opportunities. So if you're interested in helping make that conference a success, I encourage you to do so. It's going to be held at the Sheraton downtown Denver. Love Colorado, and encourage you to get signed up for that. That's fast approaching, April 21st to 24th, and yeah, support a great organization. Next news article. This is good. It's actually was the National Association of Elevator Contractors has a website now where they have continuing education via an online website, which I thought was pretty slick. So this might be something that you might be interested in either creating a program or actually having your staff attend one of them. So yeah, pretty cool. And I think you're going to see more of this type of online learning experience through some of the other associations as honestly, it just makes that much easier to do so. So you can click on the link, check out the website, and hats off to the NAC for coming up with this program, which is it's pretty slick, and it's something that's not that easy to put together. Okay, the Elevator Riders Riding Club. Glenn was down at the EESF AGM as well, and I'm sure it was one of those times he wished he had driven to the event, and I think he and I at one point were ready to drive home together if we weren't able to get a flight out, but everything was fine. We were able to get out, and despite the hour and a half security line that was at the Atlanta airport. That snaked pretty much throughout the entire airport, but Glenn's got a nice recap. If you want to take a look at the photos of what Atlanta looked like out of our hotel room, you can take a look at that. But really, it wasn't that bad, but the city just didn't want to take any chances of having people and kids and everything stranded. On expressways and all that. So, okay, the WashingtonCityPaper.com has an article talking about the worst performing metro escalators of 2013 and 2014 so far. Again, I don't, it really stinks that this type of tracking needs to be done, but I guess that's the only way that you can kind of somewhat confirm that things are being done correctly. But you can check this out and find out all the goodies on WMATA's escalator system to some extent. So must be a slow news day. Okay, space elevators are totally possible. This is coming from Motherboard, which is a blog. This is written by Megan Neal, and I love the title. It's Space Elevators Are Totally Possible and Will Make Rockets Seem Dumb. You know what? I would love to believe this. I really would. I just don't see it. I have more faith in helium balloons being launched as the one that allowed the one guy to basically jump out of the capsule and do the highest jump from outer space or whatever. I just see that happening. Whether or not that'll be possible with higher payloads is another story. So, and this actually blog post is picked up, I believe, or kind of tied in with the Huffington Post article regarding space elevators could provide safe and efficient cosmic travel. Researchers say, it probably could if everything worked the way it needs to. So, again, it's interesting to see space elevators coming back into the news like every year or so. It didn't quite get the traction it did this time around, but if you remember, the Kickstarter campaign to create the program or the space elevator raised quite a bit of money. Not enough to actually build the space elevator, but enough for the space elevator founder of, I forgot what the company name was, to, I guess, survive a little bit longer, with a little bit of money in his pocket. So I'm not sure what has happened since then. So anyway. Okay, the sad news to cover that occurred in, where did this happen? Jackson, Mississippi. Apparently the body of a repairman was found in an elevator shaft at a hotel that serves a dorm for Jackson State University students. Technician found 23-year-old Kevin Poor dead Friday at Tiger Plaza Hotel on Graymont Street. The building used to be a traveler lodge. Anyway, there's no signs of foul play, and investigators are looking at the autopsy reports. Real scary, and just remember out there, the work that each of us does in the industry, whether it's consulting, inspecting, manufacturing, or working on elevators, is dangerous stuff. So the next article actually covers or goes a little bit more into detail about what may have caused that death, and they think that maybe the possibility of electrocution. So just scary. So yeah, it's Just got to be careful out there. Accident at hospital construction site kills 11 in Bangkok. Quite a bit of traction on this one. Quite a few articles linking all over the place. I don't know if this is the one's going to load up, but excuse me. I believe the main, or one of the reasons they believe this occurred, or it's coming from the Edmonton Journal. Let me just cite that real quick. Apparently, it was a accident at a hospital construction site near Thailand's capital on Tuesday. Killed at least 11 people and injured 18 others. Police Lieutenant Gaysorn said that the accident in blah 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 province occurred when a beam supporting an elevator shaft collapsed and fell on workers who were constructing an annex at the hospital. Ugh. Yeah, just awful. I mean, I don't know what kind of safety requirements are in other countries, but it really makes me happy that the United States is as strict as it is on job site and work site safety requirements. So, yeah, and there's more on above the link that's in the show underneath it. So, okay, let everybody click on that. Good news is that cameras do catch people or help uncover fraudulent claims on the metro. And this kind of relates to the article we covered a few weeks ago about the gentleman who said he slipped on a banana peel in an elevator while getting off, and while elevators in general caught on video the fact that that wasn't the case. So I don't know, maybe this is the way that our industry, or just fraudulent claims in general, are going to be thwarted to some extent. You just wonder whether or not even settlements are going to be filed even when this kind of information exists. But I know that, video recording or recording live is something that is a somewhat of a violation in some areas against our civil rights. And I totally get that, but at the same time, I mean, if this cuts down on this kind of crap, man, put cameras in elevators and try to catch these people in the act if you can. I'm all for monitoring the damn things to lock people in when they start screwing with elevators, to be honest with you. So I think that's great. Anyway, original bear mural hidden in elevator shaft, wacotrib.com. It's kind of a cool article. Apparently, the knowledge that his great uncle crafted a bear mural adorned Floyd Casey Stadium made attending Baylor University football games all the more special for Robert Blankenstein. But it turns out that the piece Richard Blankenstein created hasn't been seen in decades. The original plaster bear mural Richard Blankenstein created in the mid-1950s for the stadium opening has been out of sight since 1990. And that's when skyboxes in the press release were added to the stadium during a renovation project. So that's pretty cool. So this bear logo had been on the other side of a shaft, and now is visually there. So pretty cool. I mean, you wonder how many other treasures are out there like this kind of thing. So I know that we had a customer come in one time that said they had an old Victorian home and discovered there was an elevator in it, but it had been basically sealed up. I'm like, that is the coolest thing in the world. So yeah, you just wonder how many other things are like that out there. So okay, escalator steps stolen in India. I guess there's money in these things. They caught police did catch these two gentlemen who caught these escalator treads, but again, makes you basically happy that you live in the United States, because if you got to worry about escalator step plates being stolen, that's not a good thing. I know they're expensive, but not a good thing at all. So but they did catch them, and maybe they'll prevent others from trying to steal them. That's about as crazy as stealing copper wire that's actually still live on power poles, but that does happen too. So anyway, okay, MARTA reveals some interesting facts about elevator systems and elevators, other systems, elevators and escalators, and it's pretty cool. I got a chance to talk to Bill Thomas of the Metro Atlanta Transit Authority down in Atlanta, and so did Elevator World, which they've got the blog post here. But he had some really interesting insight on the MARTA transit system. And I got to tell you, it was really refreshing to hear the steps that they're taking to improve elevator service, and all sorts of stuff, which I think is just awesome. So you don't see this across the country in terms of our national transit systems, And hats off to you, Bill, for the efforts you're making to, turn, basically just make them better, and all that. So pretty cool. So in Elevator World, great article for writing that. Okay, worker was killed in an elevator shaft at a cement plant in Louisville, Kentucky, or in the area of there. Apparently, I'm not gonna see if I can. I don't want to play this video. I'll let everybody watch that in your own time because I'm not sure what's gonna pop up. But apparently, there was a gentleman, a contract worker from Alabama, came up, and I'm not sure what the deal was, but officials say that the gentleman opened the door to the elevator, but there was no elevator car, and he somehow stepped in and fell 4 stories. Yeah, elevator maintenance, my friends, that is what is required, and depending on the application, the environmental conditions, the age of the equipment, will depend on how much maintenance that elevator needs. That is the key. All right, and so it'll be interesting. Well, I guarantee the door lock manufacturer will be pulled into the lawsuit. I guarantee that'll happen. I guarantee the contract will be pulled into the accident. I guarantee anybody else that can find a name on that elevator will be pulled into the accident. But the reality is, cement plants are brutal, and I would believe that the interlock most likely was filled or did not work because of the environment that it was in. But do you think that, and I'm just speaking hypothetically, so don't quote me on this. This is just my own honest opinion based on my own experience, dealing with cement plants, which I have. But that dust, once it gets on everything, it is terrible. It is concrete. So, anyway, it's a tragedy. And one of those things that they might require maintenance every day or every week. And do you think a company's going to pay for that? I don't think so. And honestly, I don't know whether or not a elevator company would feel like they could honestly propose that, So anyway, it's a tragedy, and I'm sure we'll learn more about that. If not, it'll show up through OSHA or some type of civil lawsuit in a year or so. So. Okay, next news article. I'm not going to click on it. John Fillon has got an article or a video on an update on an elevator mod rip-out, part 2. Let you check out that. And again, if you're wondering, or if you've got friends who are, in the industry, or even at a party, or neighbors that are saying, "What Elevator Escalator Safety Foundation? Why do we need that? What's up with that? Do we really need to teach people how to ride elevators and escalators safely, or teach them the proper way of doing it?" Well, here's the article that should prove your point. And while bullying and other, bullying and what's the other thing the schools are championing behind? I don't know what it is, but let's just say bullying for now. Here's the perfect example where a 4-year-old Kansas boy's head got stuck in an escalator. Now you'd think, maybe he had long hair. It doesn't look like he's got long hair. Maybe he did at the time. I don't know. But the reality is that, I don't know. It's very, very scary. I'm so glad he was okay. But the reality is that he somehow managed to wiggle his head into the small gap in between the escalator's moving handrail. Oh, my gosh. Ugh. All it takes is just putting your head right next to it, and not good. So very scary. Had nothing to do with anything but the handrail. They're moving pieces of equipment. Anyway, and that happened at the Dillard's department store, so I'm just glad he's okay, but still bruised and banged up. Okay, and here's another article, toddler and escalator accident. This is where cafemom.com, a mommy blogger, posted an article about it. What kills me is that, hey, do some research and see whether or not there's some type of foundation or something that is actually, sharing some information. So I did submit a blog post to this, and, and we will find out, basically, if they accept that, because Safety Rider program is online. Come on, throw some stuff out there that can actually benefit those that are reading the article. and that doesn't happen enough. It really doesn't. So we'll see if she approves my comment. But it's good that she wrote about it as a public service announcement. So, Okay, LES subway station escalator stops working after just hours after debut in the Lower East Side East Broadway F subway stations. Long-awaited new escalator was forced to shut down early Friday morning due to an electrical issue just hours after it was switched on. Oh man, that just stinks. Hopefully this is the only glitch that they're going to have, but yeah, I don't know. So I don't know. It's just one of those things. You know, they show it with no people on it. I guarantee it had a ton of people probably when it shut down or when it was being used. So maybe it just needs some breaking in. Okay, next article: Murray Morgan Bridge elevator still inoperative. This thing looks brand new. Look, it's still got the plastic on the doors. But the NewsTribune.com reporting that a vital pedestrian connection between downtown Tacoma and the gentrified Thea Foss waterway 4 stories below on Dock Street is still inoperative more than a year. I don't know about you, but this doesn't look too waterproof here in terms of the elevator buttons that are on this thing. But yeah, I don't suspect this is going to provide the. I don't believe this is going to provide the long-term longevity unless it's sealed up. But hopefully it does, and hopefully they get that going. This is a great blog post from Doug at GAL, and this is really a key point. And I've touched on this before in previous years, had interviews about this, and we as an industry, and Doug hits a nail on the head with this. He hits a nail on the head with this. Is if we don't do something as an industry, each one of us, we should not wait for our industry to tell us what we should be doing when it comes to the safety of those that ride elevators and escalators and those that own elevators and escalators. It should not necessarily be a mandate from a government that tells us whether or not we should be telling our clients that elevators either are safe or not safe. And basically, this is a blog post talking about the fact that state insurance commissioners in Georgia had issued a letter to all owners of home elevators. The letter was shown during the video piece, and it had in large red letters at the top, urgent notification. Letter went on to describe a situation and a local instance where a child was severely injured when trapped between the car and hoistway doors of a home elevator, which then moved. The video news piece showed an animated video of how this can happen. At the end, the news video showed how you could measure the distance between the doors, what distance was deemed safe, and how to add a baffle to the back of the hoistway door if the distance was excessive. It further said if the homeowner has any doubts about the equipment, it should be inspected by a qualified elevator inspector. It seemed like good advice to me. So the video is not in here, but the message that Doug is sharing here is that basically if we don't police ourselves effectively, others may willingly step in to do so. And, obviously home elevators are a little different animal because in some situations they're only required to be inspected once after they're installed. But the reality is if you are working on a home elevator, it would be a good idea to put together a safety brochure or packet that would include spacing between doors, et cetera, so that those that have elevators are educated the best that they can possibly be. Because it's not happening. It is really not happening on the industry or company level other than when Otis was required to send out information on their doors. It doesn't just go into home elevators. It goes into the older equipment that might have swing doors. So I encourage you to spread the word on that. And whenever you see unsafe equipment, it's very important that you or an unsafe situation that you put in writing to the owner of the elevator what's going on and the potential for injury or accident, and to minimize their their risk and liability for that. So so just make that point. I don't think. Yeah, don't wait for the code. Don't wait for the government to come out and tell us what we should be doing, because we really don't want that. And it's really important that you take a look and just do your part. Each of us has to do our part, 1% at a time. A little bit at a time adds up to a significant piece of the pie. And thanks for sharing that, Doug. Okay, elevator companies help grant teen help grant teens' wish. This is awesome. If anybody is involved in a project like this, please let me know. I'd be more than willing to help in donating equipment, depending on what it is. But Access Solutions Waupaca Elevators recently teamed up with the Make-A-Wish Foundation to help grant a disabled teen's wish, which is awesome. I mean, the Make-A-Wish Foundation is one of those foundations that is, I've personally been involved with it. It's just really awesome and over the top. And if there are other issues like this, please, I'd love to help out with something like this. If it ever comes up again. Okay, this next article, tragedy, boy dies in an accident on a mall escalator. A 3-year-old boy in Suzhou, Jiangsu province, which is in China, was strangled to death on a mall on Tuesday afternoon when his clothes got caught in an escalator in which he had been playing. Just terrible accident, and you know what? It's education goes. Education needs to be international. It really does. Yeah, because this just turns my stomach to read something like that. And if you want to find out what, here we go. This is not. I'll cover that in the next article here. But anyway, thespec.com has a nice, cool article talking about an industrial park is going to be rising on the old Studebaker site, which was also the site of an Otis factory back in the day, back up before the turn of the century, right after, I guess I should say. And that was this is up in Canada, so pretty cool. It's kind of sad to see, the tearing down of the building, or the tear down of the building, I guess I should say. And looks like a huge facility. Next news article, London's escalator safety. I did not realize that safety was a concern back in the 1970s, but if you scroll down and watch this video, I don't know if it's necessarily proper in what they show, but obviously they have a different way of trying to get the safety message across. And this is a 1970s escalator safety public information film. Just click on the video, scroll down on the page, and just watch it. I'm surprised that they showed a foot being, caught in an escalator. And keep in mind, this equipment is somewhere in the 1960s or 70s. But it's still interesting to see the yellow stripes on the side. I didn't realize that was being done up until the last, the last 15 years or so. So I thought that was quite interesting. So watch that video. Here's a cool article on the Sedgwick Machine Works old plant. I never knew they were this big, but they were big. Look at this building. So Sedgwick Machine Works started in 1643. Dang. It made FDR's lift. Great article. Mike, thanks for sending this to me. I don't know what's this. Yeah, I'd say during the 19th and 20th centuries, the city of Poughkeepsie, woohoo, hit that one on the head, became known as the base of operations for numerous commercial and industrial enterprises housed in a sizable structures. They included the Adrian's Platt and Company, Harvest Works, Schatz Federal Bearing Company, a bunch of other ones, Cough Drop Company factory. And while some of the original structures still house businesses, albeit in the form of new uses, the other landmark buildings deteriorated over time and were eventually torn down. One abandoned but still standing structure located adjacent to the Metro-North Railroad tracks, once served as testing facilities for elevators and dumbwaiters manufactured by Sedgwick Machine Works. While the main plant that was used to build the equipment was lost to fire in the near early 21st century, other deteriorating buildings and the 9-story tower remain on site. That's pretty cool. Great history piece, and I was fascinated by this. I never knew, and it sounds like a huge company. I mean, honestly, it sounds like a huge company. I had no idea. No idea. I love this kind of history, though. I thought it was cool. Very cool. Thanks for sharing that. And the last news article of this week's program, I might have missed a couple in this thing. I don't really remember. NewJersey.com, apparently a second jury doubles original $4 million award to Sussex man injured in elevator mishap. Oh, man, a jury's decision last week to double to $8 million. The original award a Sussex man received for injuries he suffered in an elevator accident in 2005 was not unusual, according to a legal expert. Let me see here. What was out of the ordinary was that the fact that a second trial was even held. Why would they do that? Generally, when jury verdicts are overturned on appeal, attorneys for both sides eventually reach out-of-court settlements. So it was appealed, or they retried it, and then they thought, let this be a lesson. Quit while you're ahead, I guess. But anyway, this is obviously a serious accident. No, maybe not. Yeah, it was. Apparently, a carpenter was working on a remodeling project in the lobby of the headquarters. He got in the elevator to return to the lower level of the parking garage 4 stories below. He was wearing a tool belt, which weighed 30 pounds, and was carrying his 75 tool belt on his shoulder. Oh, man. So the elevator was shaking and bumping, and eventually, according to the person who was awarded $8 million, came to a very abrupt stop, throwing him into the elevator's instrument panel. I never heard of it called that. That's an interesting word. Anyway, he suffered spinal injuries that resulted in nerve damage to his neck, back, herniated discs, and vertebrae. Man, that's a lot of money. A lot of money. I'll let everybody read this in their own time. Anyway, that's going to do it for this week's news content, everybody, which is great. Let me get into the email list. And if you've got a news article you'd like to share with me or have me cover, send it to me, elevatorradioshow@gmail.com. All right, let me look up my random number generator. Random number generator. It's a cool little tool here, isn't it? All right, so we're going to enter up the random.org. Okay, got the minimum, got the maximum. All right, 246. 246. Let me go back, look at the email list, and we'll scroll down. All right. 246. And Bobby from North Carolina. Bobby, you are the winner of a $100 gift card, some great Girl Scout cookies, and some awesome goodies that companies have donated. So, as always, thanks for tuning in. I'll shoot you an email shortly just confirming your ship-to address. And as always, thanks for subscribing to the e-newsletter and our website, Bobby. And be safe out there. Looks like you're an elevator mechanic. All right, that's going to do it for the show, everybody. As always, thanks for tuning in, and really appreciate you being patient with me. We should be being on track for 3 more weeks, at least. And I'll keep bringing content to you as long as I am able to. So everybody be safe out there and think spring, please, because we could use it. I don't care how much you like snow. We've had enough of it. So everybody take care. Talk to you next Wednesday, and be safe. Bye-bye.